As teenagers, we're given lots of backwards advice. Advice that isn't bad intentioned, but pushes us in the wrong way. It's advice that we're given by our parents, by our friends, by our peers, each other, and it allows us to make excuses. It allows us to not work hard, to be lazy. Young people and especially teenagers are told all the time that this is like our time to have fun. Because after you grow up, you become an adult, well, that's when life starts to get serious. That's when we have way more responsibility. And that's when you have to actually start taking things way more seriously. The problem I have with this advice is it gives us an excuse to not work hard. It gives us an excuse to be comfortable. Because right, when you hear this, you're like, yeah, that might make sense. Like, yeah, we're young, we don't really have that much responsibility, so why would I be working super hard right now? I should have fun because this is my time to have fun. But what is that fun really? Because when you think about it, it's not going to parties and living it up every single day. This fun is more of just going on your phone for a couple of hours, playing video games for 3, 4 hours. That's what this idea of fun is. It's not exactly a lot of fun. It's just wasted time that allows you to be comfortable, that allows you to sit back and not work hard because you're filling the void, you're filling the time with a bunch of meaningless things. And when you do that, you are comfortable. You don't really need to worry about anything. Life is pretty easy. You don't have to take responsibility for anything because you're not giving yourself any responsibility. This advice is so backwards because these are the moments in our lives where we are growing the most. You grow the most physically when you're a teenager, but you also grow the most mentally. You learn the most, you absorb the most. That's what prepares you to be an adult. And the problem is, if you don't grow, if you don't prepare yourself, if you allow yourself to be comfortable all the time, you're directionless. You grow up, you go to college, you get a job, and then you wonder, how did I get here? Why? Why am I here? You never wanted to end up in this place, but you've found yourself there anyways. It's unfortunate because if you would have given yourself some direction, you'd have ended up in a place that you wanted to be. But when you kind of just drift through life without vision, without purpose, you end up someplace that you never wanted to be in the first place. You can see this with a lot of people nowadays. You see many, many people who literally just hate their job. They don't like working there. They don't like their life. They don't like living. Living is not fun or fulfilling for them. And since they're not living with direction or purpose, and they're not reaching for goals, and they're not doing anything to forward themselves as a person, they remain in that same state. You become depressed, you become sad, and think that this is all there is to life. That you unfortunately ended up someplace that you never wanted to be. You ended up getting a job that you don't like, and now you don't know what to do. You're told to be comfortable, be happy. If you're stressed, just relax, go have some fun. But you shouldn't be relaxed. You shouldn't be comfortable. Because the only way to grow is by going through discomfort. That's when the best things happen, is when you go through discomfort, when you're not comfortable. Because when you go through pain, when you go through adversity, you see the most growth in your life. And as you know, when you are comfortable, you don't see any growth. You look at yourself and you think, what am I doing? I remember when I used to play video games for literally the whole day. After I got home or after I finished school, I would do my homework, and then the rest of the day was video games. And yeah, it was really fun when I was doing it most of the time. But after you finish the gaming session or after you're done playing and you get off, you're not talking with your friends anymore, you're not laughing. You just think to yourself, like, what was I doing? That was a complete waste of time. You feel some sort of regret. When I'm having a bad day, I know it's a bad day because I've been spending a couple more hours on my phone. I reached my time limit on YouTube Shorts. And the funny thing is, that's how I was living my life every single day before that, it was just full of scrolling and video games. That was all I really did. That's why I saw no growth in myself. I wasn't necessarily unhappy, but I wasn't super happy either. It was kind of just a easy, comfortable life that I was living. I had no reason to be unhappy, but I had no reason to be really happy. There's nothing I was doing that I was achieving that was making me proud of myself. I was just living. I was drifting. And when you drift, you go nowhere. You're just floating through life. You can't afford to float through life. You're going to end up someplace that you never wanted to be. You're going to end up a person you don't want to be. You need to have direction and focus and purpose. And I know it's hard to say you need purpose because, even me myself, it's hard to say, like, do I really know what my purpose is right now? I'm 15 years old. But you really do have to find something you truly care about. Something that really makes you feel alive, makes you feel like life is worth living. And if you really do pursue those things, I think you will find purpose in them. One of the most important lessons I've learned is that you always have to have goals. If you don't have goals and you aren't working towards them, you're not really working towards anything. So, what I want you to do right now is to go get a piece of paper, go get a pencil, go get a pen. Doesn't matter what it is, just pause this video and write down some goals. Write down maybe one thing. It doesn't have to be a lot of things. It could be just one goal. And that goal could literally be anything. It could be that you want to go talk to someone tomorrow. It could be that you want to start a business in a month. It doesn't really matter what it is. Pick something that you know that you'll be able to commit to. Pick something that you know you can achieve and just start thinking. After you write that first one down, start thinking more often about, where do I want to go? What do I want to do with my life? Because, whenever a parent asks me this question, like, oh, what job do you want to get? What do you want to do with your life? I really was just like, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. And I feel like that should kind of scare you. A lot of people have that same answer. Like, I don't know where I want to go with my life. I don't know what job I want. You need to start figuring out where your life is going to go. Or else life is just going to go somewhere. Not any direction that you wanted to go in. Just in some random direction. And you're going to end up in a very random place. You'll have no idea if you're going to be happy there, if you're going to be sad there, if you're going to be depressed. To take control of your life, you need to plan and know where you're going. You need to plan ahead. Because if you don't, you're going nowhere. Even though we're all young, you need to start thinking about these things. It's really, really important to set up your future in the correct way. Because as you get older, if you're working towards something, if you're working towards achieving something, you're going to start getting better and better at that thing. And guess what? In 4, 5, 6 years, you're going to be excelling in that area. You're going to be achieving something that you're genuinely proud of. We're living each and every day without challenging ourselves, without pursuing goals, without having vision, without purpose. People ask, what is the purpose of life? Well, you have to give life purpose. Life has no inherent purpose for you. You need to start thinking about your vision, where you want to go in your life, what do you want to achieve. And when you find that, you need to set goals. Set goals and start working towards those things. Start trying to get there. Because then you have direction. You know where you're going, and you'll know where you end up if you achieve your goals. It's pretty simple, but it's something that not many people are doing. Not many teenagers are doing. And I think if you decide to do that, and if you decide to actually commit to your goals, everything else just starts to fade away. You're no longer playing video games. You're no longer scrolling on social media because you have purpose. You have things to do. You have places to go. You have goals to achieve. And if you start thinking about that, if you really think to yourself, what do I want to do with my life? Where do I want to go with my life? And you start to figure out your own vision, your own dream, you instantly gain direction and purpose in life. So don't drift through life. Don't be aimless. Don't be directionless. Because if you do what I've told you to do in this video, you cannot imagine how grateful your future self will be.